And we are online.
One
Hi everybody. I'm glad to announce that our webinar has started. It's again Thursday, and again you'll hear some fantastic and very interesting information and knowledge to boost your business. My name is Alexander Fridman. I am founder and CEO of company WAPI. WAPI, an IT company, logistic tech company that helps to fulfill and deliver goods all over the Europe. And also WAPI has created WAPI community, the place in internet where all of our partners, clients, and anybody who is interested in selling online can find very useful information, experience, and something new for his business. And today we have invited wonderful people to our webinar. It's Nat Hakam and Hiba Weber. They represent the company SellerMobile. Hi.
Hey, how are you guys?
Wonderful. Not so good as you because you're at the sun now at the beach, uh, and I'm in the office, but also wonderful. So, can you tell us a little bit about your company, about SellerMobile? I said that you represent this company. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hiba?
Okay, sure, I'll start. So, well, let's introduce ourselves and then we will introduce Seller Mobile. So, my name is Hiba Weber and I am the COO of Seller Mobile. My e-commerce journey started a while ago. We have been in the e-commerce world for a really long time, but I actually took a little detour from e-commerce and from business to pursue a passion. I got my master's in social work. I traveled the world. I was in the Peace Corps. But really, eventually, I kind of came back to sort of this other passion of mine, e-commerce, and which sort of evolved into a software company. And we'll talk a little bit about that. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about you, and then we'll go into what Seller Mobile is.
The only thing that I want to say in advance to our wonderful guests that you are from USA and your English is absolutely fantastic. But as I say to most of my speakers, the most popular language in the world is not English, it is bad English. The bad English is language which knows every person all over the world. So please, if you can, talk a little bit slower so that every speaker of us will understand, okay?
That is fair enough. I'm glad you said that at the beginning. I'll slow down a little bit.
Thank you. Let's
I only
continue.
I only know bad English, so it'll be easy. She
Okay,
she has she has good English, but not me. My background started basically I went to UT Austin. There's a University of Texas at Austin. I did my business major here, and then
mhm,
I worked for a Deloitte consulting firm. I think there's Deloitte
mhm,
quite a few places in the world, and I did that for 2 years. But I realized that in order for me to advance in Deloitte, it would take me 10 years. And I just didn't want to wait that long. And plus, with Deloitte, you were learning stuff on the fly anyways, and then you were telling the clients what you learned, but you were charging them $400 per hour for. So I was like, look, I'm teaching myself. Why not teach myself to make money on my own? So I started off making websites for other people.
mhm.
Um, and so while I was doing that, I realized that we were able to make money for selling it on Amazon. So I said, why not start selling? So it all started for pocket money. We started selling glow sticks
Mm-hmm.
online because that was the fad back then. You go to a club, everybody's selling glow sticks, right? And they're raving. So I was like, why not sell something fun? And that pocket money turned from few products to a couple of thousand products, and we sold the company in Feb of last year.
Uh-huh.
And we reached almost 20 million in revenue just doing that. Now we weren't just selling
Wow.
glow sticks; we expanded to other lines. But so yeah, it was a fun journey. So
So it's
and now
not only the glowing sticks for 20 million annual turnover, right?
No, there was more than Glow Sticks was just the start, and then that thing died out very quickly, and then but
Okay.
we picked up other products along the way, and I could talk
So
about
how
that.
long did it take you from the start to the moment you sold it? The
10
10 years. Okay.
10 years. It took 10 years because when I first started, we didn't know. First 2 years was just, learning, just spending money, making mistakes. Honestly, we've made every mistake there has been in the book, or outside the book. But, no, I didn't have anybody to teach me how to build the company. So it was just like we were just figuring it out on our own, and that's how we built it.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Hiba, what's your experience? The time long?
Yeah, so we've kind of been in this journey together, and like Ned said, right? So the 10 years that it took us to scale our own business, that's really the creation of Seller Mobile. So Seller Mobile didn't exist before that. So while we were, and you know this, a while back, Amazon was new. There weren't that many softwares that were supporting some automation, some analysis. And so we actually developed our own internal software. We ended up hiring a developer and saying, hey, these are the reports that we need to help us better understand how our products are doing, what we need to be restocking, where are a majority of our sales coming from? Because as we were growing our business, we needed more information to help us scale optimally. And that was really the internal creation of Seller Mobile. And once we started delving into this, and Ned will tell you, he is, this is so anything that he's approached in the e-commerce world has been with like a layer of tech. He's always had tech in the back of his mind, and so that's kind of been the philosophy of our company. How can we make ourselves lean, and how can we make ourselves really more effective using technology? So we created this software, which we know helped us scale our own business. And after we sold the e-commerce business that Ned was just talking about, we actually put all our resources into the software because we know the same way that it helped us grow from zero revenue to 20 million is how we can help other Amazon sellers do the same.
Wow, that's very very interesting. I'm very sorry. I think you hear this strange sound, and I hear it too. And all the team is now rushing around and searching how to switch it off. So while you will talk, I'll just mute myself so that it won't disturb everybody. Okay, because it's disgusting. It's awful.
That's
But
okay.
okay.
It's
So
live.
everybody, yeah, it's it's live. We can't do anything about this. So to everybody, our the topic today is how to grow your product catalog. And it would be great if we can start. Hiba, you wanted to share the screen. You have a presentation for us.
I do
Please,
have a
you can
presentation,
start with it.
and I will start with that right now. I'm gonna click present. Now, do you guys see my screen?
Yes, I even see our logo WAPI on your presentation. That's
Yes,
cool. Thank
sir.
you.
You're very welcome. Now, do you see the screen and do you see the video as well?
I see only the screen, no video yet.
Okay, so you know what I'll do is I'll just move us up here. That way you can see a little bit about. Okay, so we already did the introductions, and so we can sort of move past this. The next piece, Ned, why don't you take over? Why don't you start us off?
Well, you asked about the e-commerce journey, and part of the journey, we've got quite a few brands that we've established over time. Basically, our journey has been e-commerce, not just Amazon, but selling on the e-commerce platform. So we've expanded products in many different places, and so it's just not always about Amazon, and we'll talk about that as we talk about the growth of products. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, my presentation is a little stuck. All right.
I guess it was a video, right?
Is it back now? Is it the next?
Yeah,
It did look me funky there.
it's the next one. Yeah. I could talk. So this is the party supply company that we talked about, right? I mean, we started selling glow sticks in 2010, right? And we started off doing 25,000 in revenue for the first year, but we only had 20 items because I remember
What was your starting budget?
we spent 18,000 on our first container, something around that line. It was a 20-foot container. I remember coming from from China, and then I remember we moving a warehouse to a 1,500 square foot warehouse, and we put everything in a 24-foot U-Haul when we were moving it. So
It has
yeah,
that.
I know. When we exited at a 50,000 square feet warehouse, which took 20 or 30 containers to move out. So it was quite a journey, but and this topic kind of suits it because the only way we were able to get there is because we were able to add products. But adding a product line isn't just like you just go start adding products like I used to think. There's more to it when you're adding products. So in 2014, we built to the $4 million revenue, but there was no Amazon yet, by the way. It was all on e-commerce, right? We were expanding our glow sticks. We added like 15 different colors of glow sticks, which was the stupidest idea ever. Back then, it was really smart.
Wait a second. You said that at the beginning there were no Amazon.
No Amazon. It was only e-commerce.
So
And
what channels did you use?
we were selling on AdWords on our website. We were
Oh,
selling on
you were targeting Google on the websites.
correct directly. And then
Yeah.
we did that really well till and then we added light up products, you see. So you had glow products, which is you crack it and it glows, right? Then we added the light up products because it's the same type of product market, same customers, but it's just a different product line. So we added that, and then Amazon came into the world. And when Amazon came in, we lost 2 million in revenue in 1 year because
Wow.
yeah, because when you're on Google and Amazon's on Google, guess who's gonna win those keywords, right? So when Amazon came in, we took a massive drop in our retail revenue. So we said, look, we know we can't beat them. We might as
Is,
well join them.
is it true that in states there is a sentence to be Amazoned?
Yeah, I mean it's
It's exactly what happened with your company, right?
yeah, I mean Amazon is a business killer for small businesses, right? But I think if you do it in the right way and you do multi-channel, it could work. So we
Hmm.
joined Amazon. Honestly, our Amazon revenues were extremely high when we exited, and we also maintained our retail brand, which didn't do like the retail website, which wasn't as big, but it was still there. And then because our volume was so high, we were going to trade shows, so we had a completely different wholesale line because we were able to, and because we were able to go to trade shows and wholesale and sell in bulk, we were
Hmm.
able to get pricing that our competitors couldn't get. And so from an Amazon perspective, we had really good margins. So we started selling on Amazon, um, and then very soon we scaled up to 12,000 unique items on Amazon,
Wow.
and it was nuts. I don't know what else.
12,000 unique items. It means 12,000 Amazon listings, right?
12,000 Amazon listings, and we had MFN and FBA, so that allowed it to be a lot of
Yeah.
listings. But we realized that out of the 12,000, it was an 80-20 rule, right? 80% of your products do
Wow.
well, the other 20 is just carrying down the weight. And so there was a lot of work involved with the 20%, but the 80% was carrying the revenue. So we realized that we had to scale this back down because if we didn't scale it, it wouldn't be efficient, right?
Hmm.
So we started realizing bad inventory, the selection was too high, the restock, and we'll talk about that in the presentation, right? And so we had to
Yeah.
start cleaning it. So we cleaned it down from 12,000 items to 1,100 items. We kept our top 80, right?
Hmm.
So it was a 10-year, fun cycle we went through where we started with nothing. We went all the way to 12,000 products, and we came right back down to 1,100 of our top items, right? We added
Mhm.
16 colors of a product. That was stupidity. I mean, back then we thought we were the smartest people in the world to have the best selection. But hindsight, we're like, bro, a multicolor sells the best. Why do you have 16 different colors, right? And
Interesting.
so these are the kind of things that you don't quite realize. But then again, we exited in Feb of 2019. We hit the 20 million mark in revenue, just right around there. So it was fun. It was fun. It was a fun journey.
And what was the percentage of Amazon sales to the, you didn't stop targeting, or you focused 100% on Amazon?
No. We did both. It was almost like 50-50, I would say, because we also had a lot of wholesale customers as well. So that's
Because I hear now from a lot of companies that they wish to have 50-50. Most
yeah,
of them have 90% Amazon, and they
they
wish to
don't.
get to 50-50.
Yeah, and it's hard because I think the model, a lot of times people will buy products just to sell on Amazon. They don't do efforts. Like if there's a unique product in play, right? You can
Yeah.
create nice catalogs out of it, and you can shoot it out to a lot of B2B customers and pick up wholesale. You can come up with, you can do things outside of the Amazon world just because if something happens to your listing and so on and so forth, there's a problem. So
So very
multi-channel is
very interesting business question. In result, which channel give you more margin, the wholesale or the Amazon?
that's a tricky question because it's not a very straightforward answer, right? If I were to just look at Amazon without taking out all the non-Amazon expenses, then
Yeah.
Amazon gives you good margins, right? But if you want to do wholesale, you always have additional expenses like warehousing. You have, right? So when you go into
Yeah.
that, then the margins on wholesale are a lot lower because you're selling higher quantities. But having the
Yeah.
combination gives you a little bit of a best of both worlds because the wholesale and bulk selling really drives down your cost of goods, which then affect your margins on Amazon. If you don't have the bulk, then your margins on Amazon may not be as good because your MOQs and your quantity purchases aren't very high. Hence why it increases your margins. Does that
So
kind of make?
there is a synergy when you work both.
Yes, that's why if you say go with Amazon, but then your margins won't be as good because you don't have the bulk selling, right? So that's why it's a little bit of an intuitive answer.
It's
Um,
a great life hack. Let's continue.
Hiba, you want to talk a little bit about the success factors?
Sure. So, like I said earlier, really our success behind Amazon was to create this internal software system to help us get more data and to help us automate some processes. Like I'd mentioned, the restock process before, helping us even understand which of those 80% products that were doing really well and which those 20% products were that were really killing our margin, and we were spending a lot of time and
Mhm.
energy, you know, warehousing them and putting them in Amazon, but they weren't doing sales. And without that data, you really can't identify, what is doing well and what isn't, and where you should focus your energy on and where you should cut ties. And like Ned said, really growing that product line and that item catalog is so important, but it's also really important doing it the right way. You can't just add a bunch of colors for an item that's selling well, assuming because this item is selling well, if I add 15 different colors, they will also sell well. So really being very strategic in how you're adding items.
Mhm.
Um, and of course, like he mentioned, adding that wholesale, piece lets you, increase your MOQs and helps you get those better margins for the product, which in turn really help us on the Amazon end. And then pivoting to additional marketplaces, when you have dominated a certain marketplace, a
Mhm.
great strategy to increase, which helped us, was to expand to additional marketplaces. Once you understand your product and you have, good a supply cycle, then you can move on and replicate that same thing. And really watching to see what your competition is doing. Always having one eye open to see
Mhm.
Is the competition adding more things? Are they, expanding their product line? What are they doing to make sure you either learn from their mistakes or you do something they're not doing? And the last piece that now,
Or you copy something that they do.
exactly, you copy it or you avoid it, but you absolutely want to make sure that you know what they're doing, because if you just live in your own little world and have no idea what your competition is doing, then they're going to be noticing you, that's for sure. And then the last thing that said was that he had said earlier was cleaning up, right? So when things aren't going well, don't be afraid to take that action to fix that mistake rather than just saying, let me give it more time. Let me keep trying this. No, it's going to work out. Cutting the bad apples is really important to make sure that they do not impact the entire fruit basket, right? You don't want the few bad things to make the things that are going well worse.
Um,
Yeah, but you had 12,000 SKUs. So it was a challenging thing to find out where those bad apples.
it
Oh,
was really
absolutely.
hard. Yeah, it was really hard. I mean, we sat down and we just cut and cut and cut, and we discontinued 11,000 items, and everybody was just everybody in the sales floor was like, oh my god, this company is, I don't know what's going to happen. But one of the things that Hiba said earlier, we didn't realize that if you have a multi-pack and you offer single colors, a lot of times your sales for the multi-packs will reduce and go to the single colors. If you don't have the single colors, your multi-packs will sell just fine for the sometimes, right? It all depends on the product. In the case of a glow stick, most people would want multiple colors, right? Like it looks cool. But then there are those parties that are green based parties or blue based parties, or there are like college colors, right? So in those
Mhm.
instances, you would lose out on those sales. But then you have to value as to, hey, if I buy X amount of a product and if it doesn't sell really well, then I'm stuck with it too. So there's
Right.
more to it. So
Okay.
let's talk a little bit about, and I'll cover a little bit of that as we go. But in this particular presentation, we'll refer back very quickly to these product life phase cycle phases. Again, this is what I believe in, and this is how we think about it internally.
Mhm.
So we have the introduction phase. This has everything to do with identification, research, sourcing, analyzing, doing listing optimizations, creating listings, doing product trials. Usually before we buy the full product, we'll get samples and send it out to friends and family and ask them for their advice, right? Test it out, put it in
Mhm.
play, try to break it, to figure out the quality. So that's what we call the introduction phase. The next phase we talk about is the growth and marketing phase, right? This is when you're actually trying to ramp up. It's like basically if you look at a car, your car's ready to go, that's the product. But to take it from 0 to 100 miles per hour, you got to put a lot of gas, right? It's very
Mhm.
inefficient time at that point. You're probably burning more gas in ratio to getting somewhere, right? So in that particular instance, it's inefficient, but that's okay because it's required to get up to that level, right? Which means your A costs will be higher, you're spending marketing dollars, your product may not work, there may be high return rates, whatever the case may be, but you got to drive that, right, as best as you can. And then you get to a point where you go, all right, I feel like I've gotten to a maturity level, I've got X amount of reviews, I am now ranking for certain keywords, I'm in the maturity phase of things, right? So that's where you can
Mhm.
increase your pricing a little bit. You can lower down your marketing costs, let some organic sales take into play. That's your maturity phase, and you hope that your product stays in the maturity phase, or the phase 3 and phase 2, a little bit, right, throughout the core
Mhm.
cycle of it. But there are times when there's a decline, right? Not always, but there are products that don't meet the customer needs, or the world has changed, like what we've seen now, like it's that kind of stuff. So hopefully you'll never hit phase 4, but reality is
Just to be
sometimes,
prepared for it.
right? So this is this product cycle that we'll talk about.
It looked like life cycle of everything, not only about the products on Amazon. It was life cycle of any,
Agree.
any business.
what goes up must come down at some point in time, right? And so the idea is let's just keep it up as far as you can, and then while it's up there, let's pivot in the air so it never comes down. So that's the concept, right? And we'll talk about that as we go. But scaling products and adding more products is not always a good thing, and I think that's what people don't quite understand very well. Like me, like people like me that didn't understand this 10 years ago, when I thought we should have the biggest catalog out of all our competitors, and that doesn't always work,
Because
right?
you were in a rush for the growth, right? You wanted to grow. You didn't think of anything else.
Nope. I was like, all right, let's buy this. I used to go to China, and I remember, let's buy this, let's buy that, let's buy that, let's buy that, and like everybody's like, you okay? Are you sure? And I go, yeah, man, we have everything. uh, but it doesn't it doesn't work like that, and we learned that very so let's talk about the benefits, of risks. I mean, of the product line expansion, right? So obviously there's benefits. For sure, there's one which is diversify the risk of revenue loss. Okay,
Mhm.
and many times this is huge. A lot of people will go up and down because they did not diversify. Amazon can drop a listing anytime. They can be three complaints of a product back to back in 3 days, and now they're shutting you down, and there's a POA for it, and you've lost revenue. This happens so much. We've been recently buying companies, and anytime a company has less than 5 products with 1.5 million revenue in sales, we pass. We say, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want any listing that does that high of sales. And if that is
Mhm.
the case, because if one listing goes down after I bought that company, it's over. So diversification is extremely important. Okay. The other thing you can do with product line increase is gap in seasonality trends. Everything I'm putting here is based on our experience, and so I'm going to
Mhm.
speak a little bit to it. One is the fact that we bought a company that sold calendars. Now, calendars usually sell November, December, Jan, Feb, right? But they don't
Mhm.
sell the rest of the year. So the rest of the year, you're just sitting around and you're like, oh man, I hope I make revenue this month, right? So what we started doing is we started pivoting, right? So fine, you have the dated calendars, but let's do diaries, let's do journals, let's do inspirational notebooks, let's do things where people can track their interests and hobbies, and so on and so forth. Those are year round. So we added that, and all of a sudden we gapped our seasonality trend, right? So where
Mhm.
those books sold throughout the year, you've got the calendars that sold at the end of the year. Things felt better, right? You can attract new audience by adding new product lines. That's a great benefit of it, right? So that's one that don't have to go into detail on. But increasing market share, again, same exact thing you can do with increasing a market share. So um, if you've got, let's just say, one of the companies we bought was selling electrolytes, right?
Okay.
He The guy we bought it from had 7 flavors, which is great, 7 great flavors. And then we said, all right, you know what? How about we come in and add another 8, 10 flavors? But this time we're going to be smart about it. We're going to put it in there. We're going to test to see how well it does. And then if it does great, we leave it. If it doesn't do well, we tear it down, right? And so literally in a matter of 2 months, we doubled our revenue on that company, only because we didn't realize that there was such a big market out there that wanted the berry flavor. There's such a big market out there that want refreshing flavors, right? Like the spring
But
type flavors.
you were just testing. You didn't know, but you just tried and test different products in the same niche.
Yep, same
Okay.
thing. We did that, right? Because we don't, and then we also went back and we said, all right, well, what if somebody likes a particular flavor out of our 3-pack flavor, right? Why do I have to keep buying the entire 3-pack when I only enjoy one flavor? So we said, all right, let's take our flavors and break them down into packs of 24. We won't buy too many, we'll just buy a little bit. And we realized that once people were starting to buy the multi-pack, they were then going down and buying the single pack ones,
Mhm.
right? So revenue increased because of that. And so
So
again, that
it
goes
looks
to
like you educated your audience. You gave them the multi-pack so that they know about the other products, and you
yep,
educated them to buy the different ones.
exactly.
Cool.
And when you add new product lines, you can shoot out. We have emails as well that we have for our customers. We send out emails and say, look, there's a new product line product line. Everybody wants to try new things, right? That's why when a restaurant first opens up in a neighborhood, the sales go through the roof the first 3 months, right? Because people want to learn on that. So it's interesting. And
Mhm.
then, you enhance customer loyalty. The customer thinks that you have more product lines, right? It gives you a different perspective. It increases.
How to enhance customer loyalty and
Uh,
on Amazon?
so customer loyalty comes from, honestly, from quality, right?
Mhm.
If you're selling a product that requires, that requires repurchase, and if you can get into a line that requires repurchase, right? Things like shampoos and things like consumables, right?
Mhm.
You have a good quality, then it will increase customer loyalty for you at any given point in time. Also, you can increase customer loyalties by giving them incentives, right? There's a subscription offer that Amazon does, right? That
Mhm.
stuff really helps with that. So we
Mhm.
started the subscription model for this particular company, and it works really well. You give 5-10% off for the subscription, and it
Mhm.
works, right? So there are different ways to increase customer loyalty in this matter, right? Um, and then like, packaging stuff like that really does make a difference. And then, you know, you
You
like you
spend
said,
a lot of money on packaging, making
yes,
it beautiful and like with no risk of being breaking.
looks matter. They
Okay.
really do. People buy with their eyes first, and then depending on your eyes, the
Mhm.
taste is good and the product function is good, then it's a win-win situation. If the looks are bad and the product is really good, it's not going to sell as well. It's just
Okay.
the way life works. It's just how humans
So
work.
you never sold goods with crap quality?
We did. We did. We did. And we learned very quickly, don't do that.
Okay.
Uh, we've cut corners. It's not like we haven't cut corners. We went to the U's of the world, where we go, all right, we're just gonna, like, who cares? I just put a cheaper battery in there. No, those things will corrode out and it will have to be thrown out. Um, Believe me, we've cut quality knowingly and unknowingly, and it always backfires. Always backfires. Uh, the other thing is, keep up with your competitors. Always know what's out there. But improve credibility, and by you adding product lines, it shows the customer that you have the ability of pivoting. You have the ability of adding more products to to the world. So again, it tells you that you're constantly developing. You're constantly coming up with new things. You're not stagnant. So, but there are risks,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of risks that you you can basically, if a market goes down, like what's happened right now with some of the brands, right? You have more to
Mhm.
lose because you have more product lines, you have more
Mhm.
risk. um, the other thing is that when you add more things to your plate, you have the ability of losing focus on the core products, right?
Mhm.
And you can literally undermine the entire business. So for example, like, let's just say you have a finite resource budget in terms of purchasing, right? And you end up spending 50% of that on existing, on new products. And now you've got a new product line. It's not selling as well because you didn't think about the phase two that you have to put in, right? Which is a lot of money to grow. And
Mhm.
but your existing product line is already doing well. It hits a new level of maturity, and now you're running out of stock on your main core line, and you don't have the money to buy and restock your core line. Now all of a sudden you've put your entire business model at jeopardy, because to achieve the new product line, you've just made a mess of your existing product line, and that's a disaster that you do not want to look into. So
Yeah,
before expanding.
there is probably a time gap, right? From starting the new products till they'll get to the phase three. And so
Yeah,
if you mix something up with the timing, you've
yeah,
got a big hole in your budget.
100%, 100%. And that's the thing. So when you're expanding a product line, don't just think about the cost of goods that you're buying. Think about what the expense will be on phase two to get it from 0 to 100. And then you are in the clear. And then it takes a few months for you to make your money back. right?
So
Because when you
you know how to forecast what will be the budget, exact budget for the phase two when you choose the product.
know the
It,
way we look at the forecast is we can approximate, right?
Mhm.
And the way we approximate, there's a bunch of tools out there that give you approximate revenue, right? But what you can do, and the way one of the things that we do is, uh, you can, if you really want to, you add 999 to the cart when you're buying a product. Okay, you
Mhm.
write down the inventory number for that day at midnight. Let's just say you come back the very next day at midnight, and you put 999 again. It will tell you how much inventory is in the market. You subtract those 2 dates, for the most part you will understand how many units of that sold in one day, right?
Mhm.
Now that is only if more units were not added for that day, right, in the inventory. So what you have to do it is you have to do it over a course of time, and you
Yeah.
can see, some of the things we used to do in the past is we would buy from websites at X amount of time, and then we would look at the invoice number, and then we would buy again 24 hours, and we would look at the invoice number, and we would subtract how many invoices went out. So
That that's another life hack. Cool.
so look, there are ways to creatively figure out approximately how many, and then you also have a review ratio that you can look at. How many reviews did it have on X day? How many reviews did it have after a month? And you see how many reviews
Yeah.
were added for that product over time. And there are a lot of tools out there that do that too. So yeah, so that answers your question. So you can,
Thank you. Thank you for sharing this. It's absolutely useful for everybody.
yeah, sure. I mean, none of this stuff is like rocket science. It's
No,
just simple things that really add up at the end of the day.
simple but genius.
it's you're buying stuff for $1, selling it for two on Amazon. I mean, overall the concept is simple, but
Yeah.
a lot of small things really add up to it, right? And look, not all growth on Amazon is good. Honestly, we learned this the
Mhm.
hard way too, because there is a lot of unprofitable growth on Amazon. Amazon will always make its money. They will always get the fees. They will always get their pick pack fee, and so on and so forth. But I think when you're adding a product, you go through phase one, you go through phase two, but
Yeah.
sometimes it won't go to phase three. You won't get to the maturity phase. You'll be stuck in the growth phase. That's when
Mhm.
you need to realize that, all right, I'm having a hard time scaling this product. I'm not able to penetrate this market. I don't know if I picked the right product or if I don't, especially if you pick a product that is very, very, a very big scope, right? Like it's not a niche market. It'll be harder for you to go from phase two to phase three. If you can get it done in a particular point in time, cut it off, move on. Because the more money you put into it, the longer your return on investment gets, right? Which means that
But
the longer
it's very difficult to stop, when you already invested in the product.
super difficult. It's super difficult, and that's where the strategic play comes in mind, right? Like it's hard to stop. It's very hard to cut off your hand because it's bleeding out of control. So it's either you're gonna die or you're gonna lose your limb. You have to
Yeah.
make that choice. It's a hard choice, but
But
that's what.
do you have some practical advice, like when you understand that this is the point where I have to cut the losses,
Yes.
put the stop
Um,
loss?
so the way we do it is we put an Excel sheet in play. Okay, and it doesn't have to be complicated. It's a very simple concept, right? You put in the item that you want to build. You put in your cost of goods, right? You put in your processing cost. Okay, now you put in the first phase. Let's just say you say that I wanna give this product away for cheaper, and I need to do sponsored, right? So you
Mhm.
put in the cost that you want to spend on a monthly basis. So let's just say I put $500 a month I want to spend on marketing this product. Okay,
Mhm.
uh, you put in the price that you want for the first 3 months, right? Look at the competitors. You know that at X amount of sales, you will be, bottom line, you will be losing negative 500, negative 400, negative 500 for the first 3 4 months, right? No problem.
Mhm.
Then you say that, look, now I'm going to switch over to the maturity phase because after 3 months, I'll have X amount of reviews. that's when my marketing budget will go down, my
Mhm.
revenue units will go up, and my price will go up a little bit, right? Because
Mhm.
now I've penetrated. Then you realize that, okay, you have plus 400, plus 500, plus 200. First 3 months, you lost $2,000 because you were
Yeah.
in phase two. The next 4 months, you've made $2,000 back, right?
Mhm.
And now you know you're in the green and you're in the maturity phase. And now for the next few years, hopefully you'll be positive for that product. Now, this is your plan, right? When
Okay.
you know that you're not on plan anymore, is on month four, you're negative. Month five, you're negative. Month six, you're negative. Now you're going, whoa, wait a minute. This is completely out of my plan. This is not what I was trying to do. So now you've realized that your path was this, but you're going downwards, right?
Mhm.
That's when you need to decide. Because what happens is if you budget 2,000 of expenses for an item, your return on investment should be 2,000 in 4 months. If your budget goes from negative 2,000 to negative 6,000, your return now is going to take another 6 months. So your return on investment has now turned to a year if the return even yields positive, right? So it's
Mhm.
all about that return on investment. So at that point, would you rather just stop at the 2,000 or negative
So
3,000 and
usually you're ready to see losses only 2 3 months, and then in the next 3 months you will decide either you will continue with this product or you will cut it out.
yes,
Okay.
exactly. But it all again depends on the market and the category, right? Certain categories where you know that the product you're trying to rank and your competitors have 15,000 reviews. You know you're not going to sell much till you get to at least a 7, 8,000 review mark,
Mm-hmm.
6,000 review mark, right? I mean, if think about it, if you were buying a product and you see a competitor have 30,000 reviews at 4.5 star and you have 500 reviews at, let's just say, even 5 star, right? It'll be harder because you're just going to say, I'm not going to take a chance unless you're offering something that's unique that nobody else has, right? That's a completely different proposition altogether. But
Mm-hmm.
think about it, if somebody has 300 or 400 positive reviews and you've got 75 reviews, eh, pretty close, right? So it all depends on where you're trying to penetrate. That's why I always tell people when they're adding products, go for niche markets, go for subcategories, focus on smaller things, especially at the start, because you don't have the budget to go big. And most people, when they think of ideas to grow, it's all big ideas, and it's like, guys, narrow down on your
Calm down.
ideas. Yeah, because your success rate shoots through the roof when you look at a niche, versus your success rate goes down the drain if you're trying to go big. But if you hit it, you
Yeah.
hit it big. That's
That's jackpot.
the jackpot, right? So again, so if you want, I can go over. Hiba, you want to add anything to this?
No, you guys, yeah, you're doing great.
All right, cool. Just poke at it. So just go back to the other screen, Hiba. So there are a few types of product expansion since we're talking about it, right?
Mhm.
You've got new versions of an existing product is one of the things you can do, right? And these are the cool ideas. When you say product expansion, it doesn't always have to be a completely new idea that you're putting out there. I actually don't I don't like to put out products. If I'm doing something well, I don't like to put out products too far away from the core line because
Mhm.
it's just a lot more work, right? And it's the success rates, again, you're starting from scratch. But if you're doing new versions of an existing product, you understand the market. If you're adding size, color, flavor, and other variations, it's simple. You can drop the variations inside of a particular ASIN and
Mhm.
run it, right? The other thing is that you can do accessories and complementary products because you know people are driving traffic to that one particular product. You could sell a few more, right? And launching a completely new product line is the other way you can expand your product.
So first you go to some kind of cross sale, right?
Yeah, I would recommend either a cross sale, I would recommend the first three bullets.
Yeah.
And then the fourth one is if you really just want to go out another tangent.
But okay, you said that if I have one product and I invent new version sizes, accessories, I get some 5, 7 listings. And before that, you said that it is not enough. It is not well diversified.
So
So
it's both.
it is obligatory to launch a new product line, right?
So I'll give you an example, right? When we did the glow sticks, we added a completely new product line with LED, which is light up, right? One is chemically activated, one is battery operated, right?
Mm-hmm.
The science behind it is completely different. So you could go and say, look, it's a completely different product line that you're launching, but
Mm-hmm.
it's still complementary, because when people take glow products to a party, they'll also take the light up rings. They'll also take light up products to complement it. So it's a different product line, but it's a variation at the same time. Now, you
Mm-hmm.
cannot add it as a variation on Amazon, but it's close enough to where you can complement both, right? It's that kind of concept we're talking about.
And you're trying to do a multi-packs from these products
It's
also?
hard. You could if it's very like example, if you're selling soap that's like hypoallergen soap, whatever, you could do a hypoallergen shampoo, right? A
Mhm.
soap and a shampoo are different lines altogether. But if you want to do a multi-pack, you could put them all together and say, look, I'll do a soap, a conditioner, a shampoo, a liquid soap, a hard soap, a shampoo, and a conditioner. Put them all together and say, look, it's a hypoallergen pack. It could sell really well. It may not sell, right? Because people might say, no, 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 you not my soap guy. You're my shampoo guy. Stick to shampoo, right? I got my other soap guy. Is a
Okay.
possibility, but you don't know that till you try it, right?
Okay.
So that's the concept. So it's a new line, but it's kind of complementary, right? Um,
Understood.
okay, so some strategies, right? Evaluate your new product line. That's really really important, right? Determine what to cut, what to keep, what's worth it. Is it even worth expanding it, right? And then keep your cost of goods in mind, profits and margins in mind, right? When I talk about product line expansion, we bought this vitamins company, and this guy was selling 200 packs for like $20, 200 little capsules. We said, you know what? Let's see what happens. We dropped it to 120, and we made the price, like 18 or $17, right? And we put it right next to each other and said, hey, somebody want to take a $5 cut and take half the pack? And believe it or not, people were buying it. And so we go, well, the revenue went down. Well, yeah, revenues did go down, but the profit went up because margins are higher, right? So those are the kind of things you really want to keep in mind, because sometimes you're not in the business for high revenue. Yeah, it sounds cool, man. I do like 10 million in revenue. Yeah, bro, but how much did you do in profit? Because
I
if you
hear I hear this one from a lot of companies.
have, yeah,
First, everybody was rushing after the revenue, and then everybody start to focus. Wait a second. I'm here not about the revenue. I can't spend revenue on myself, so I, I need to do something.
if you want to do volunteer work, you should go to Peace Corps. Like that's what you should do. if you if your profits are zero, and there's no exit plan, right? So again, keep that in mind. Adding new product lines is a very strategic process. You want to look at it from different perspectives, and so evaluate it really well, right?
Okay.
So that's that. Next. I know it's 9:50. I want to try to keep it on time too. Uh, the other thing is that
Actually, I just checked the time because I'm thinking, wow, we're speaking so good. I probably need to check the time because it could go for 2 hours like this.
it could. These are heavy topics, right? It's a simple name, but there's a lot of content behind it, right? So target audience, very important. Keep your audience in mind when you are expanding your product line, because you need to identify the specific needs of your customers. Reach out to them if you can. Ask them what it is that you want. They'll give you valuation. They'll tell you what they want, right?
Where
You don't
where
have
to
to.
find them?
So usually what we will do is we will do an Amazon-based product, right? But we'll also sell on social media. We'll also sell on our website. When we sell it
Mhm.
on social media and our website, we'll reach out to them and ask them for for reviews, and we'll say, good, if you do this survey, we'll give you 50% off your next product, right? Or we'll give you
Mhm.
a coupon, or we'll refund back your existing product. I don't care. I'll give you the entire product for free. Just use it and give me feedback, because
So it
feedback is
means
very
that at the start of a new line of product, you use a lot sale channels, not Amazon, right?
yes, yeah,
Because
because
now it is a very important topic. All the newbies and the companies who start, they don't understand whether they need to go to Google targeting, Facebook targeting, and selling it there, or no, just go to Amazon and start there.
it's not a need. You have to. I think that starting on Amazon is fine, right? Because starting on a website and starting on AdWords, all that is difficult. It requires a lot of experience, a lot of time. Google can take your money without, like they'll take your money. You won't even know where $1,000 went in a day. Like, and
Yeah.
that's like on the low end, right? So you start off with Amazon because your success rate is higher. You can sell easily because you don't need to worry about your website, optimizing your website, conversion rates, checkouts, how people perceive things. Because when you sell on Amazon, on your own website, you can start a customer, but they will fall off in 100 cracks, and you won't even know they're falling off, right? So start off with Amazon, get your experience, get your product lines, get your 3PL, get your inventory, right? No problem. But then you want to start getting reviews for your products, right? You want to get understanding for it. Start a Shopify store, start a WordPress store, and then run Amazon PLAs and stuff like that. Get some customers, send them the products, then go back to them. Even if you have 200 customers, it doesn't matter. Go back to them and say, hey, what would you like? What can I do better? And if 5 people answer and say the same thing, you should do it.
I really searching for somebody, a speaker for this topic of Shopify and creating the alternative sales channel. If you know anybody, or you can share it with, maybe you can do it by yourself. We can arrange a next webinar because it is a very, very important topic right now.
It is super important. I think people should do that more often than not. So
And for me, it was something new because I thought that it is like basics to know the Facebook targeting and Google targeting. Like all the businesses are promoting themselves like this, but there is a huge amount of Amazon sellers that know nothing about it.
yeah,
Nothing. They're just selling on Amazon and they don't have employees with marketing knowledge outside the Amazon.
it's not difficult, but it is intuitive. You do need to do research, but I would again start off with Amazon. I would say be the easy success way. It's easy success. It's easier to launch, right? So going back to this, so
Yeah.
navigating based on your target audience, right? Again, identify bundles that would be very appealing. Go with that, and then try to increase your average ticket price as best as you can. For example, when we were selling bubble guns, right? We said, you know what? How about we bundle batteries along with it, right? I mean, you're going to need batteries. You're buying bubble guns. You may need an additional bottle of bubbles. Just bundle
Mhm.
them together, and that becomes a variation. And so you have your bubble gun. So the big thing, in my opinion, is you sell what you were selling initially, you
Mhm.
add a variation, and now you can see how well it compares, right? How much impression you're getting on that product and how well that product is being sold, right? Versus how many impressions you were getting on the first. So don't go by the quantity. Sure, the quantity of your first product will always sell more, but if the impression rate of your second one, your purchase ratio on the second one is higher, then you know that the second one has more of an appeal depending on how many people are landing on it. Now you know what to push
So
for.
it means that you don't stop searching when you find a product that is well sold on Amazon or in e-commerce in general. You start to search for variations to have even better statistics.
Yes, that's
Cool.
the key. And your stats are based on selling value and on margins. You want to look at margins. So dropping down quantity to increase margin is not a bad idea. Dropping down quantity, dropping down revenue, increase a margin is not a bad idea. These are things that you should definitely look into. So again, revenue is not the name of the game. Then the other thing is like do competitor research, right? Because a lot of times like you can focus with You can focus on items with lower competition. I'll give you an example. Like we were selling electrolyte powder, and then we looked into some of our competitors, and we decided to pivot into coffee powder with the same concept, right? So now you're adding a completely different product line, but at the same time, you're looking at what some of the competitors are doing, and you can enhance that particular product line. Buy from your competitors, play with it, test it out, see how you can enhance it, and then you put out that enhanced product, right? That's important. Now, I'm not always saying to copy exactly what they're doing, which is what a lot of people will do. And that's fine if that's what you want to do. It's not, again, it's not against it. Just don't sell on their own listing like their branded listings. But, but if you can enhance it a little bit, why not? That's the key, right? So enhance it and do that. Then the other thing is create a unique value proposition. If you can create a unique value proposition, you're untouchable. Because by the time somebody else comes up and copies you, right, it's a while and you can actually build out that listing. It's really important, right? I'll give you again the example of bubble guns, right? So if you look at a bubble gun, you've got the old boring looking bubble gun, where your kids play with it, you spray and the bubble spraying out. Some of our competitors have decided to put a dinosaur in front of it. Well, what sells better? A dinosaur looking bubble gun, we're shooting out bubbles out the dinosaur's mouth, or a regular bubble gun that just looks like a gun, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, sales went through the roof for that guy, and guess what happened? Everybody else copied him. Like they're all different looking dinosaurs. But it was a genius idea. It was a niche product within that category, and it sold just fine.
So you're
So
saying just about the picture. You're saying
yeah,
just about the picture. He had to add then a dinosaur and the
so
sales go up.
he added a look, a face of a plastic dinosaur mold in front of the bubble gun. So he literally took that bubble gun and he put a little dinosaur looking face. So it seemed like the bubbles were coming out of the dinosaur's mouth.
Okay.
You could go to Amazon and look it up. There's a dinosaur bubble
You
gun
will
now.
say you will say again that it is not a rocket science. Yeah, but it's simple but genius.
It's not a rocket science. But it's creativity, right? And
Mhm.
if you can align your products, you can go with the Amazon virtual product bundle program. If you get into it, you can apply for it, but you have to have a brand. You have to be selling. I think this applies mostly for U.S. sellers. I think it's only in the U.S. There are some restrictions and limitations, but it's a cool program. And if you even if you don't go get into the program, you can create the bundles not virtually, but you can create them in a 3PL, or something of that nature. Where and if you can identify growth of your products with the thought process of adding it to a bundle in the future, even better. So you have two separate products, and you've got a bundle in play, even
Mhm.
better, right? And so
Cool.
that's important. And then this is where the last point is, like, you should also think about adding a product line from an expansion of distribution channels perspective, right? Find out what channels will kind of achieve the highest penetration of your target set market segments, right? That's important. So you can look at like social media marketing, you can look at wholesale and distribution channels, right? If you have a product that has some unique proposition to it, you can create a catalog and mail it out to B2B guys, right? And see what they say. Send in a sample. You
Mhm.
never know who's looking, who's watching, who'll pick it up in a store. And if they do pick it up in a store, it's okay. Go for it. Sell it. I understand that e-commerce is growing really well, but there is retail. There are stores out there, and they're willing to take and test out new products. If you have it, go for it. So think about how you can expand it. This is probably the toughest one, going out to different channels, but it's important to think about it. If you can penetrate it, then why not? Um, and I think this last few left is gradually increase your product lines. Don't do what we did. We went out and doubled and tripled our product lines in a year or two. We were lucky that we had so much success early on that we could afford it. We still have no debt. We've taken no money from anybody. We've built everything from our own profits. So we were lucky that we were able to take the growth and expand into it.
Mhm.
So gradually build it, test it out, learn what you have, and resource allocation extremely, extremely important. Extremely important. If you have to match your cash, you got to look at your time. You the last thing you want to do is to find yourself focusing on expanding the product and putting all your money into that, and then your initial line hurts, and now you've ruined the entire business just trying to scale. And one important thing I've learned, sometimes it's the second business that kills the first business. It's weird, but sometimes it's a second business that kills the first one. The first one was doing great. You wanted to
Yeah.
expand. You got into the second one. The second one ate the profits of the first one and more. And now you're left with nothing. So,
You had this as with some of the products you started.
luckily, for our main brand, no. But so we had our main party line, which was great. But we launched a lot of products. We did we did canes, walking canes. We did cufflinks. We did adult diapers. We did a lot of stupid products, and a lot of those didn't work.
I
But
love about this topic. I love one speech. There's Guy Kawasaki, the business coach, and he once asks from the stage, like, please give a hand up. Everybody who failed once in your life with any of your projects. And then half of the audience showed their hands, and he says to the other half, "Hey guys, who didn't show me your hand? You were just not trying hard. It was just not hard enough. You're lazy ones." Because everybody who works, everybody has this project that could fail.
I mean, I think you can't succeed without failure. I just don't see that happening. If you want to succeed, you got to fail, but fail in a way where you don't tear down the company, right? Small failures are okay. but anyways,
Okay, let's continue. I see that you have prepared the takeaways, because usually at the end of every webinar, I'm asking, please tell us several takeaways, like how to be successful in e-commerce.
I mean, I have the takeaways in play.
Yeah.
Basically, again, it's simple stuff. It's not rocket science here, right? So,
Mhm.
offer products that allow you to sell more to your current customer base. If you can expand it, you can create variations, colors, flavors, anything that goes to number two, which is diversifying your product portfolio. Remove that risk. Honestly, if you remove the risk of, if you diversify your portfolio, you will be more likely to be successful. Your company will be healthier. And then you're not freaking out when Amazon, shuts down a product because of stupid bad reviews, even if it's their fault, right? Like they
Mhm.
busted the product and now you've got a bad review and they shut it down, right? It doesn't matter. It's a big marketplace. You can't
Mhm.
control it. So diversify your risk, right? So it makes it easier. When we bought the vitamin company, just an example, they had 20 products. One product went crazy because there's a product called, I won't get into the details, but there's a little raw material in China it comes from. The prices went through the roof.
Mhm.
Literally, that product died overnight. It died, right? Because it
Mhm.
wasn't worth selling it. But because it was less than 10% of the value of the company, we still pursued the purchase and not just let it go. Because if that happened, and if that was 70% of their product line, we would have backed out instantly and said, nope, not interested. We're not taking that risk, right? And sell the products that enable you to win over your competitors' customers, right? It's important to do that. If you, like the bubble gun example, right? There's a lot of bubble guns out there, but if you put that dinosaur on face on there, you're literally taking away from your competitors because they don't have it till they follow you, and then you find another one, right? And so keep moving ahead, think creative, and allow for seasonality diversifications, right? And this also helps you with market collapses. So if you have a product close enough but also at the same time not close enough, that allows you to diversify. When crazy things happen, and crazy things do happen, we're going through a phase right now. So keep those things in mind, and those are my takeaways.
Wonderful. Let's give some motivation for people. So if the team starts selling on Amazon and grows to some 20 Amazon listing, 20 different products, and they have about 2 million euro, the USD, doesn't matter, revenue. They have profits, and you think that they're healthy business. uh, what will be the price that you would suggest they can sell this company?
So the price of a sale. So that it's really funny that you brought that up. I've always built Amazon businesses, build and operate with the mindset of exit. You
Okay.
always want to think about the exit while you're building, because if you think about an exit at a particular given point, you haven't built a company for an exit. You're trying to struggle to exit, and by that time it's too late, right? So in order to exit an Amazon business that's about $2 million in revenue, if you're doing about 20-25% in, in profit margins, and again, there's no profit, you're not going to get value for your company. There's got to be profit, for the most part, right? It's You're looking at between 3 and 4x SDE, which is seller's discretionary earnings, right? And
Okay.
SDE is basically your profit, and you add anything back that you've spent on your own self. Like if you've bought a car, you're paying for your life insurance, you're paying for,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that you've spent. So if you're spending money on your own self, no problem. Your salary, so on and so forth, all that will be added back to the profit. So
Mm-hmm.
you have the SDE, which is seller's discretionary earnings, which includes profit and anything you sold for yourself. You take that, and it's 3 to 4x on a yearly basis. So if you're
Wow.
making $200,000 in profit, $300,000 in profit, your company will sell for about $1 million.
Wow. Wow.
So
And
again,
how, okay, for you now, uh, how long will it take you, like from scratch, to build a Amazon business with 2 million revenue per year?
we don't do scratch anymore because I've done that fair share in my life. But
Okay.
if I were to,
Yeah.
if I were to, and if I found a decent niche and I was able to penetrate the market, I would say about, realistically, to build a $2 million brand would take me about a year, 6 months to a year.
Unbelievable. This is the best motivation that we could give to the people who are watching the webinar and who will watch the video. Guys, just work and you will see the profits, you will see the money.
And the beautiful part is
So,
that after the beautiful part is after you sell your first company, you can take a small portion of that cash and buy another company of the same size, because you can finance some of these companies. You can go through SBA, you can go through owner financing. So when you sell your company, you don't have to just not do anything. You can go back into the business with the learnings, start from scratch, and you can build further again.
cool.
Do it
Thank you
all.
for this life hack also. So you didn't say anything about SellerMobile. You have a possibility right now.
Hiba.
Sure. So, you know what? I think what's really cool about Seller Mobile and what sets us apart is we've got this brain of an entrepreneur, right? And everything that you heard today is really kind of the thought process behind the software. So as we, develop this software, we use, our leadership team they've all been entrepreneurs and very successful entrepreneurs on and off Amazon. So as we develop our software, we're keeping all of the things that you just heard about today in mind. So in terms of the software itself, we have got a profitability tool, which helps you see those margins, what helps you understand your ROI. You get to see your top selling items, your worst selling items, essentially just sort of a dashboard of information that you can use to make, better business decisions. We've got an amazing restock tool that uses demand forecasts, looking at historic sales to predict what your future sales are going to be to help you better restock, create purchase orders, print labels, really do the whole gamut of restocking. We have got an amazing repricer that helps you, makes you more competitive on listings that you share with other competition. We've got a feedback tool that helps you build out those reviews and seller feedback so you can grow your presence on Amazon. Competitor analysis that lets you see what your other competitors are doing when they have buy box, what their prices for the items. Um, and then, in addition to all of this, we also have an amazing notification piece alerts and notification piece, which lets you see anytime there are changes not only to your products when it comes to the listing, the price, having buy box and things like that, but also at an account level when you need to be restocking, when your margins are too low or too high. And so it really is a full suite of tools that helps Amazon sellers not only, scale their business, but also manage it in the day-to-day operations. And for anyone that is listening to the webinar here today or in the replay later, we have got a coupon code for your viewers, Alex, and it's WAPI10. And they get a 10% off reoccurring, off their subscription price. And we've got a couple of different packages that they can pick from, so it gives them a lot of options. And one more thing I'll leave you off with, which is we have got real customer support. So people are available on the phone, on live chat to help answer your questions, to walk you through the software, really to kind of help you, just sort of navigate the software in general. So it is a great opportunity, and really it's coming out of the minds of entrepreneurs who have done this successfully many times.
Thank you, Hiba. Thank you very much. I'm sure the product is wonderful. Everybody who is listening to this, go to the website and search, find out what is it about. I'm sure that it is very, very valuable. I thank you very much, Net and Hiba, because the webinar was very practical. So it was not a theory about selling. It was uh, discussion chat about real life, about your story, and I liked it very much. So many life hacks from your background, what you did with your hands. Thank you very much for sharing it with everybody, and good luck to all of us.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks for
Alex.
having us.
Thank you. Thank you.
See you
Okay.
later.
Bye bye. Ciao.
Bye.